who should govern all this growth in AI? You know, where does it go and who governs it?
So I have become deeply cynical on this entire topic, I have to say.
I am not surprised by that, Mr. Radican. The fact that you've become deeply cynical on who governs AI, I would be shocked if it was anything but that. So, Mr. Cynic, who could it be now?
No one is the obvious answer.
No one is not an obvious answer at all, because anybody would say no one. I don't think that's the answer.
I'm going to tell you why it is.
Okay,
so let's just look at where AI is going. One, for sure, there's going to be autonomous agents or just agents, right? Where instead of me having to learn the prompt to run the AI to get the AI to do a thing, so instead of me, I can just say to the AI, make me an online brokerage, get it through regulatory approval, get me a website.
And you think AI is capable of this?
Not yet, but in the future for sure.
Not even.
Or I mean, but
not even a
for
chance.
sure it is.
Not that's a ridiculous example. Not a chance.
I could say to AI, make me a 90-minute feature film about anything you want, any story you want to tell it. Write me a screenplay and make this movie.
Okay.
So anybody's going to be able to make their own feature film.
Okay.
Anybody's going to be able to have you don't have to be a developer. You're not even going to need to know how to manage software developers. You'll simply, AI will manage.
You're 100 years away. You're not even decades away from that. That's such a ridiculous, that's the old argument. Let me just say what argument this is. When they came out with 3D printers, the argument was, okay, I'm just going to give you the same argument because this drove me crazy 10 years ago, and it drove me out of my mind. Oh my God, 3D printers. We just eliminated the need for manufacturing because all we have to do is just download the software.
And all the entire logistics infrastructure.
Basically, all we have to do is download the software and we can print anything, anywhere, and we don't even need to manufacture it because we'll just print it. Hey, how well did that work? All I'm saying is I cannot handle the argument where somebody goes, well, you don't have to do anything. You just basically just push a button and it'll build you a brokerage firm. It'll build you a car. It'll build you, it'll build you a bomb. It'll build you whatever. It doesn't matter. It's never going to happen. We're 50 years away from that. It's not even this is such a pipe dream. Okay. Right now, it can barely answer a question correctly.
Incorrect. That's for sure not true. That, you may think that my description is hyperbolic or
no, it is hyperbolic. Yes.
Well, you think that, but at the same time, your diminishment to the fact that you can barely answer a question, which is most assuredly an underestimation. But you asked a different question, which again, this is unanswerable. The answer to answer the question of what is the potential of AI, every person can have an answer to that question, and no one can be right and no one can be wrong. We don't know, okay? But I know that I'm right, but that's neither here nor there. And so the question of administration is obviously. So Giorgia Meloni in my home nation of Italy, the prime minister, in charge of the G7 for 2024, which basically just means you get to set the priorities for the agenda. That's what it means, right? Usually. And so the two priorities that the Italian prime minister selected for the G7 in 2024 was immigration, which is, I think, self-evident, obvious, whatever, particularly because Italy has a lot of, African immigration, and then AI, right? Well, who's going to be in charge of AI?
Okay.
And really the biggie is who's going to be in charge of AI, right?
Okay.
And it's the same thing. You can go to every parliament in the world, Berlin, DC.
Who's going to be in charge of AI? Who gets to decide?
Tokyo. Sure. What are we? That is the topic of the earth, right? It's not just truth or skepticism. Every executive branch of every major government on earth and every legislative branch is having this discussion. All of them. No one has an answer is the first reality. The second reality is the speed at which AI is actually in deployment. The people who really have any control over AI, and who knows how much it is are the CEOs of the AI companies, right? Tim Cook, Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, Satya Nadella, whoever, Elon Musk. Those human beings have much more administrative authority over whatever happens with AI. I mean, what are you going to do? Where would you even begin?
What's your point? I don't understand your point. I mean, what are you saying?
It's the reason it's unmanageable, and thus it shall not be managed.
It's not unmanageable. The question is, should it be managed, and by who? Not is it manageable? It is manageable.
I don't believe it is.
Oh my God, everything is manageable. Everything is manageable.
Really?
There's nothing, yes, really? Everything is manageable.
So you believe something with that, and I'm not even going to get into it. Okay, I'll ask you the question. Who's going to manage AI? Assuming it can be managed, which is an absurd assumption, but who? Tell me. Is it going to be the United Nations? Because you need a global consensus. You can't get a global consensus on any topic. Any topic. I guess nuclear weapons is the closest you can come to a global consensus, which is we would prefer not to use them.
It'll be something like what's happened with, like nuclear weapons, like NATO type thing. There are a few things. There'll be some kind of international standards, like, climate change and things like that. Climate accords.
Like the Paris Accord, you're saying?
Yes, there will be things like that. And it will make sense. It won't be perfect, but it will put some basic standards out there so that there is a protection of, so free speech will be protected, but there will also be limits to what AI can do, so it can't be destructive to the world. And, there will be certain things.
But can we talk about that? Because I think that's the obvious sort of point of concern at its heart, is some sort of asymmetrical danger caused by the scalability of a negative intention using AI. I mean, that's the sort
I don't know how you can, I don't know how you can not. I'm not sure how you can go forward thinking that there can't be any regulations or any restrictions or anything like that. I don't even know.
I think there'll be millions of them. I just don't see how it prevents a small group of actors, like a small group of people. You
don't ever prevent a small group of actors.
Right, but I can prevent a small group of people from getting a large nuclear bomb, but I can't prevent a small group of actors from deploying an AI, a malicious AI undertaking of some kind.
Of course not. But that's obviously you cannot. But the flip side of that is maybe you can prevent 99%, which is all that you can ever do. You can't prevent 100% of anything. So maybe it's 98%, maybe it's 99%, but you can prevent and you can make things. People will abide by certain rules because they don't want to be thrown out of their country, go to jail, whatever it is, whatever the penalties are, lose all their money. There are penalties for doing certain things that you shouldn't be doing. I don't see why this is even that big an issue. It's just a question of, you get enough places to, you essentially, you create the outline.
All you need is one 13-year-old to anoint one AI agent to do some scalable malicious activity.
Okay, how does that change? How does I'm just
saying you can't regulate that.
That one 13-year-old you can't regulate, but
that one 13-year-old has asymmetrical power because AI via the agent infrastructure.
That one 13-year-old
rob every bank account in North America.
That one 13-year-old could
hack every bank account.
Of course, and that one 13-year-old could be a hacker today. That one 13-year-old could be a school shooter. It could be anything. I mean, they can't prevent any of that stuff. But so why? Who cares?
I know, but the AI allows that school shooter to do it at scale, metaphorically.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
So
what are you saying? So what are you saying? Nothing at all? You're better off with nothing at all?
I'm saying.
What are you saying? What's your solution? You're saying it can't be done, but you're not giving a solution.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Sure you can. You put 98% of it back in the bottle, which is all you can ever do. Get 98% of that genie back in the bottle. You're worrying about 1 or 2%. That's your 3 standard deviation move. That's like, look, you have 180 countries in the world. Most of them are on the same page. You've got a couple of outliers. Nothing you can do.
Yes, but when technology empowers at scale, it's one thing to have an outlier that has limited ability to project malice outside of their immediate environment.
Not really. Not when you look at a country like North Korea. They don't even have internet in the country, but yet they can create nuclear bombs. My point is, and they're not going to play nice with anybody, so you always have these outliers out there. How do you get rid of those outliers? Well, you don't. But if they ever act up, you shut them down.
I understand, but the difference is that the availability of the technology, in this case, nuclear weaponry, is much more easily controlled, monitored, and surveilled. The availability of
I don't know if that's the case.
Scalable malicious AI activity is much more broadly available, much more difficult to surveil, and much more difficult to enforce or intervene upon at any point until it's too late. Have you seen these murder drones?
Much less dangerous than a nuclear bomb.
Oh, much more dangerous than a nuclear
Oh
bomb.
my God!
I mean, that
crazy.
is ridiculous. No. Oh my God. No, my God.
Oh,
Because have you seen the murder drones in Ukraine? Have you caught wind of that? Do a little YouTube on the murder drone.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen the murder drones, the suicide drones, the whole deal. Yeah. I got it.
So I stick some AI on that, and I download all the phone numbers and launch a fleet of murder drones to all of the 312 mobile phone numbers in the world. That's more dangerous than a nuclear weapon.
Okay. Well, I'm not going down this path because there's no way out. All I'm saying is you're going to have regulation. You're going to have global regulation. And it's going to work 98 or 99% of the time.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you for the last 5 minutes, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's assume that there's a global consensus on AI regulation, and it more or less works.
Okay.
The consequence of that will be world peace.
And you're going to tell me that world peace is bad for the economy.
I'm going to tell you that, well, that's also true, actually. I didn't think about that, but that wasn't where I was going.
You're going to tell me world peace is bad. Yeah, I got it.
No,
okay.
I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is world peace is unlikely because we live in a primitively minded, conflict-oriented group of humans, sadly. And if I would say that the odds of global consensus on regulation of artificial intelligence, were it to happen, would then establish such a level of mutual awareness among all the 7 billion humans that it would create the first ever opportunity for world peace.
So you're going to tell me we can have global security regulation. We can have all these different, like, for example, just like requirements for passports to travel and everything else. But more importantly, I'll use security. I'll use the world of finance as an example. We can have global finance regulation that actually works. But for whatever reason, we can't have AI regulation.
No, not for whatever reason. The reason we cannot have AI regulation is because of the broad availability and widely iterative and accelerated unmanageability and asymmetrical deployment capability of a single actor. Well, in other words, You've been listening to the wrong podcast or reading the wrong.
You've been the wrong fearmonger. No, this is not.
That's such a great diss. You, sir, have been listening to the wrong podcast. That's a 2024 diss.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good
but
one.
I'm sorry because if you cut out the big players in AI, you got nothing. There's nothing there.
Okay.
All
right.
You tell NVIDIA you can't provide software or hardware to this person, that person, this country, that country. Okay, they don't have AI anymore. Okay, so it's not that easy.
So you're saying that. So your argument is that much like there's a choke point with access to the exchanges.
Of course. I can't stand these arguments. I can't stand these.
And you're saying the AI choke point is access to the hardware.
Of course, there's always a choke point, no matter what it is. There's always.
Well, okay. And so, all right. So listen, because I mean, this is not abstract. The primary point of debate among AI regulators today, right now, is autonomous agents, or agents, if you want to just use a single word. And how much authority should Tom or Dylan or any 13-year-old or 90-year-old or any human being be able to go in and basically command an agent to a task?
Sure.
That is literally the
that's the fearmonger scare tactic, but sure. I got it.
That's not the fearmonger scare tactic.
Yeah, it is.
The question is,
have you tried any of this stuff? It doesn't work. I mean, it's not we're not there yet. We're 20, 30 years away from that.
Talk to me at Christmas. When you got an agent, you're like my car, you get some disgruntled tastylive customer, tasty trade customer, and they've set a autonomous agent that's constantly making your car go left or some ridiculous thing. I mean, that's the question. Or somebody has a disgruntled ex-girlfriend, a disgruntled former employee. I mean, they'd be like, I'm going to do an agent. I'm going to have an agent rob Tom. I'm going to have him do whatever.
Hey,
you know, just
you better hope it's not a disgruntled ex-girlfriend thing, or you're in big trouble.
Okay, listen, that's why you think I'm so worried.
All right, Dylan, 1:45, we're out of time. Or let's put it this way: you grew up in the right era.
Okay.
You're 10, 20 years from now, you're gonna go.
I'm telling you.
I remember before there was AI.
All I'm telling you is that the number one discussion is how are we going to regulate autonomous agents?
I'm Tom Sosnoff.
Think about it.
I'm Tom Sosnoff.
Okay. Don't sleep too well tonight. You better not sleep too well.
I'm Tom Sosnoff. He's Dylan Radigan. This is Truth or Skepticism. We will see you next Wednesday, every Wednesday, for another episode of Truth or Skepticism. Thanks so much, Dylan.
All right, see you next week.